In this unit, we are going to talk about a little bit of production, but in this video, I'm going to explain the difference between production and manufacturing. They are not the same. You might think that they are similar, but they are really different. Let's start by talking about the differences that they have. Production says converts inputs or intermediate to a final output of services. On the other hand, manufacturing is transform raw materials into finished good. What you can imagine here is that manufacturing is like the when you have raw materials, for example, corn. When you have the corn with the plant of the corn, you take it into a fabric. So this is the raw material. So in the manufacturing process, in that fabric, they create from the plant, they create the flour made of corn. But in production is when you have that bag with the corn flour and you sell it to a supermarket or to a shop. So that is the difference. Manufacturing is when you have raw materials and you make a product, but production is when you take that product into the supermarket. And some other differences, I'm not going to explain all of them, but I'm going to explain the most important one. So it says that manufacturing results into goods only. So let's talk about El Ingenio, that example that we have in San Miguel. So that is manufacturing. They transform the sugar cane into the sugar that we consume in our houses. It's only goods, okay? The only thing that the Ingenio does is to make the raw materials into goods, into a bag with sugar. But the production results in the form of either good or services. So what happens here in production? That sugar cane, that bag with sugar, you take it to a supermarket, for example, Super Selectos, but it includes to sell the product, to create a commercial for sale that product and everything. So you are providing the good, that is the sugar cane, but also the service, which is selling the product. The manufacturing is tangible in nature. So the manufacturing thing is only tangible. It means that you can touch. It means that you can touch the product, the final product. You have to use machinery. So that is manufacturing. But in production, it could be tangible or intangible. So you can see the process or not. For example, the same example of sugar cane. You in production, you can sell the product. You need it for sell it. You need to touch it, right? But the intangible is the idea for creating the commercial. So that process is intangible. You cannot see it in that moment. Someone is creating a commercial for selling that sugar cane, but you cannot see it. So that's tangible or not intangible. In manufacturing, you use machinery and material. This is something that is necessary. If you don't have the correct machinery, if you don't have the people for processing the machinery, you are not going to have a final product. But what happened with production may or may not use machinery. So if you are selling something, you don't need a machinery. No, you only need people, or you only need a place where to put the sugar cane and people go there and buy it. But you don't need anything else. And another important thing is, maybe with examples you can get the idea better. Manufacturing could be a chemical industry, pharmaceutical industry, or paper industry. So those manufacturing examples are industries. For example, the people that create pills, that create, for example, acetaminophen, paracetamol, all those things, they need some specific machines. They need people for processing those materials. And that's chemical industry. Pharmaceutical too. And paper, you need some specific materials for create paper, and you need also the machinery, right? So that's manufacturing. But on the other hand, examples of production are clothing companies. For example, any type of clothing company. Let's start by talking about, for example, Puma or Adidas. So that is production company. Why? Because they hire a specific company. They hire an industry, Oh, and they say, okay, I need 100 shirts that has the Puma logo in front of the shirts. So, and that the manufacturing process, they sell the Puma company the specific shirts. But what is the action that the company Puma does? They only sell the the shirts, and that's it. They don't create the product. They sell it to the consumers. It says Apple is another good example of immaterial input production because they take great care in brainstorming new ideas and designing for the products. What happened with Apple? There are some people that is creating new ideas about Apple company. They are creating new type of software. They are creating new types of computers, tablets, or cell phones. But those are ideas that are inside of the mind of the person, and then Apple hires another company to manufacture a cell phone, for example. Let's think about that. I work for Apple and I create a new cell phone, but I have it only an idea. I have only in my mind the idea of that cell phone. What Apple does, Apple hires another company, a manufacturing company, for example, in China, and that company creates my idea, and then Apple produce the cell phone with the brand Apple in front, with the big apple on my cell phone, and they sell it. So this is basically how they work together. For example, a clothing company may distribute clothing as their product, but the clothing itself is manufactured by an entirely different organization. The same thing happened here. Ilasal, for example, Ilasal, they sell some type of clothing, but they don't produce it. They hire another company to manufacture the product, and then they sell it. So they work together. Production and manufacturing work together.